Hey, I know I look out of it, and I am. I just got out of the hospital. Been having issues all year with my leg. Um, what's funny enough, you wrestle for so long, and you think you get by without a neck problem. I know you're thinking, but you just said your leg. Yes, this is a convoluted story. And I just want to give you the Cliff's Notes before I ask and to explain why I look so out of it. Even maybe I look a little bit stoned. Um, but I literally just got home from the hospital. So let me backtrack. In December, I'm at work, and somebody with me on the job had an addiction. He was an alcoholic, and we were carrying boards together. Something happened. They fell out of his hands. They hurt my neck, and I needed neck surgery. While workman's comp did not approve it, so I had to go get a lawyer. Blah 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 blah. Wait. I'm going from working out to being a carpenter all day to wrestling every other weekend when I could. Well, pretty much every other weekend that I didn't have my son, to now not being able to move my left arm and do anything really productive. I got blood clots in my leg and was airlifted to the hospital for emergency surgery, and I've been having problems with it all year. And it makes you reflect, especially on wrestling. I know, listen, I'm chubby right now. It's been a rough year. Not shaved. Don't look so unbreakable. But I haven't let it defeat me. So I'm almost thankful for the journey that's brought me here now. Because, man, if in 2021, when these people were ready to lynch me online and my son was being kept from me and TNA wouldn't... Sorry, this is... You gotta almost calm yourself to say this, but I thought this was the right time to say it because I did just get home from the hospital. Just everything that's happened, and I almost killed myself. I want to say from that day forward, I've never wanted to harm myself. But I was in a dark place, and I was sitting in my living room, and in the nick of time, my phone lights up, and it's my now wife texting me. And the picture on the home screen is my son. And it was like a light was shining on them. I know that sounds like philosophical, religious, and maybe it is. Maybe that's what I take solace in. I don't know. And from that moment forward, I've been upset, been frustrated, been angry, been hurt. But never would I have that feeling, because I know my son, he needs a father. And as long as he sees me, what he sees online, he'll know is not true. We all know that even if you don't think it's true at the end, you have questions at first. And that can be influenced. And that's hard. But other than that, I'm grateful for everything I have in my life, because without this path, I wouldn't be where I am. So had I not met my son's mother, I would not have this amazing young boy who is my world. Sorry, I'm dealing with custody case. I'm not going on about that. But I want to express myself accurately without somebody saying that, hey, look, he's not healthy or he's not responsible or anyway, because people will try to change the narrative on you. And I know that better than anybody. So because this is an emotional post that I do want to post right now, and I'm going to, because I want you to see where I am at life. And it's kind of a good depiction, because even though my soul feels great, my head not shaved, and put on some weight because of these blood clots, and look at how swollen my hand is just from the IVs. And it's like how life could have been different had people just listened to me and had TNA just investigated. But then I think it could have been different, but could have been so different that without me wanting to be a pro wrestler, without me meeting my son's mother and having my son, and when going through all these thoughts, thinking maybe the only option is to move back home to Canada because I don't have anybody here. And then I meet my wife. And when I meet my wife, I don't want a serious relationship. I never want to get married again. I definitely didn't want to have another child. Not because I didn't love kids, but because I was fighting for more time with Jax. And prior to that, he was kept from me from... And I know that social media is going to say, well, look at those accusations. And I'm going to say, well, those accusations were false. But they did come from somewhere. And it's like the pain I went through physically and mentally and spiritually and emotionally opened me up to now I'm married and we have a daughter who turns 1 on Monday, and her birthday party is tomorrow. And it's just... I got to pick up my son tomorrow for my daughter's birthday party, and I know that his mother is going to act as if this is some emotional outcry or that I'm on drugs. And no, I haven't been no sleep in the hospital. And I'm going to get a good sleep after I post this video, because I got to pick up my son in the morning for my daughter's birthday party. And I got to be careful, because I know she's going to say that. And I know she's going to try to use that in court. And I know I don't look great right now. And if I had to go pick up my son, my wife would be the one bringing him there. I don't even think I would, because he would just be able to sit here. I could talk to him. So yeah, you know what? I would get my wife to go pick him up in this situation, because even if he's doing something, I interact with him while he's doing it. Like what we like to do is why we started the YouTube channel, right? My son's YouTube channel is... he loves YouTube videos and loves video games. So we'll watch a video and then we'll talk about how he would do the video. And we would talk about why he would do it that way. And then we would draw pictures of it, right? So we do that because that gives us a more psychological time together. So I like some of those days. But then I like when we get to go outside and play catch or go to the trampoline park, even though I haven't been useful on the trampoline this year. But I get to encourage him to do that. Or go to, he loves Dave and Buster's now, right? So we can go there, we can still be active, and we get to do things, and it's been hard this year because of the leg, yes. But because we're missing that physical aspect does not mean that our time is not quality. I'm learning things about my son because when I have the opportunity, then I get to teach him things. I'm now learning how he learns stuff. So I know why he likes a character. I know why he likes playing chess. I know why he likes sitting in a certain position or sitting on a certain surface. I understand all these things because we've had this year. So as much as physically this year has sucked for me, it's like without everything, would I be in this position to learn that about my son? Because I can teach him how to play basketball, how to play baseball, how to play hockey if he wants, how to play lacrosse if he wants, how to wrestle if he wants. I can teach him those things. But I need to know how he learns so that whatever he gets into, I now understand his learning style. And my son is autistic. But when I say learning style, everybody has a different path. And I've learned that through being a wrestling teacher. So this is all, see how it's all going together for me now? I got into wrestling because I like teaching, and I really like teaching. And last night, goes back to the TNA thing, I'm not mad at the talent. I'm frustrated how they handled my situation because at least right now, I could agent, I could train, I could be valuable to a company had they investigated. It hurts. When I went to TNA, it was not the popular decision. I went there because I wanted to create something. I was through and through supporter of Impact everywhere. Ask anybody during that time who was having the best matches, whose social media posts were all Impact orientated, telling Dave Meltzer he's got to watch the product. I wanted to be that guy to put eyes on the company and to be treated the way I was. Is heartbreaking. I asked Scott to send me a ring skirt so I could hang it up in my garage gym during COVID, so any promo I did, any watch this week on TV I did, you saw that symbol in the background. And going to TNA was not the popular decision. I left my dream job in New Japan to go to Impact, to spend more time with my son. And in Japan, I was over. And then I know you're going to say, well, you stole protein. No, I didn't. I've said this. I'm going to say it one more time. I broke up a fight at a gym, and I had my own pull-down bar with me. I left the gym. 2.5 months later, the cops came and asked about the fight. I was not handcuffed. I was taken down to the station. They asked me about the fight in the gym. I explained what happened. I was not in the fight. I interjected into the fight. Okay, then they asked about the pull-down bar. Then they had questions if it was the gym's pull-down bar, and I said, no, it was a special mag grip. I have the receipt. But they did take my belongings, because that's what they do at a police station. And then they put me in a cell, and then I had to wait for a lawyer, for the lawyer to get access to my phone, to get the receipt for the fucking pull-down bar, to show them that, hey, it's his pull-down bar. And then I was released, and I was told I was going back to Noah, which is all part of this. This is where I'm going. I apologize. I'm trying to be careful, but also storytell, because I'm excited about what I would genuinely like to get going, and if somebody out there could help. So, I know I'm trying to cover a lot of stuff, but it's on my mind fresh because of all that's happening. And I want to be sincere, and you get to see really how it affects me, because I can't be stoic right now, because all these things I'm discussing are emotional, and you can't help but be emotional, right? We cheer on men's mental health. This is what men's mental health looks like, brother, sister. Yeah, I Hoganed. What, are you going to cancel me again? I grew up in the 80s. No, I do not think that the use of the N-word is appropriate. No, I do not think that I know anything about Terry Bollea. All I know is Hulk Hogan. And I am sad he died. But I do not blame anybody who feels differently than me for how they feel. I'm sad that Hulk Hogan died. And I don't know anything about Terry Bollea. So I'm covering everything. So you can't twist any words and call me this wing, that wing, extremist. It can't be John Wayne Murdoch saying, go listen to your Joe Rogan podcast. Like, come on. Sorry, John. I know we had a discussion after all that. But it's just like that kind of stuff. It's like you have no clue about who I am. You've made decisions. And if you look at just the discussion I had with Brent, and it's not ill-willed. Brent seems like a good person. He had a different viewpoint of mine. And I saw, oh, he's just upset because the people he follows and looks up to on this platform agree with this. So then it's who's more popular online, which goes back to Scott D'Amore telling me the only reason we're not going to clear your name is because we don't want to get crushed online and we're trying to rebuild the company. And I'm like, yeah, I know. That's why I came here. That's why I'm working as hard as I am. Sorry, I gotta see. It's just, I feel like posting this is real and authentic, but at the same time, I know she's gonna try to use it in court. But I need neck surgery. And I have to move my head around weird because it's not comfortable, and it hasn't been comfortable since December. God. So, social media wants to make assumptions, and this is me bearing my all. And it could be at a heavy cost. Because I don't know how family court is, but you hear the stories. I'm not making a judgment call. I'm in a situation with lawyers and a GAL in my case. But I cannot say anything about the judge other than up to this point, everything has been fair from her judgment, I feel. So I can't speak on that. I just heard the stories, and I don't want to not be in my son's life half the time. Because I left my dream job at New Japan to go to Impact, which was not the popular decision, so I could be around him more, because I wouldn't have such a heavy schedule, but I'd be making the same money. And I wouldn't have to do indies, and I wouldn't have to do international. I wouldn't have to miss all these times. But then I get the Impact, and they want to send me international all the time. Because I'm popular from the unpopular decision of leaving New Japan. So they use me, and I take more weekends out of my time with my son, when it was the reason I came to Noah. Because it's when I went to Noah. I started with Noah. I was supposed to be GHC heavyweight champion, man, and that was cool. Sucks it never came to be, but that was awesome. Supposed to be NWA champ once, too. That would have been cool. Yeah, I love wrestling, man. Being an NWA champ, hoping that you can revitalize something. Because when I went to New Japan, when I went to Ring of Honor, nobody believed in me. But I did it. Okay, so let's cover it. We're covering everything. Let's cover everything. I was told that I could lose to Trevor Lee by a roll-up in Bola, even as Ring of Honor World Champion. And yes, I said, now that I am on a deal, meaning I was now exclusive to Ring of Honor, because this gets twisted as well. So, this is therapeutic. I'm glad today happened. And I'm glad I feel this way, because it doesn't matter. this is the real me. This is what everybody's going to get. Well, once I get back on the gym, we're going to trim her up, because even if it kills me, I want to have one last match, probably in about 2 years, so that my son and daughter can see me. Hopefully 2 years. If I'm going to do one more, and it's probably ill-advised. Could be 5 years from now. I don't know. But I will have one more match for my kids. Sorry, it's emotional, but in a good way, in a pleasant way, in a I couldn't be happier way. Just reminiscing my wife and my daughter at my mother-in-law's, and just getting ready for her first birthday tomorrow, and sometimes I just think about them. This isn't a performance. Family, man. Family's, it goes back to the wrestling thing, and I'm sorry, I know it's all over the place, but I really want to give you all the info. And we'll get back to the Ring of Honor situation and the baseball thing. See, I know where I'm at. But that's how my brain works, and it actually benefited me for wrestling. It's, I was a lunatic. I watched everything everywhere and tracked it, and every night before my matches, I would watch my opponents so that I could get ideas to mix our stuff together so it was original and fresh and new, and always trying to create and be different. While watching old All Japan and Noah, to get ideas to utilize the style of wrestling I liked because of watching Terry Gordy and Dr. Dusty Williams win the WCW Tag Team titles at the first WCW pay-per-view I ever got to see, Great American Bash 1992. Like, it all just ties in together, because I left my dream job at New Japan to try to help Impact. I might say that a lot to get my point across, why it upset me. You reminisce about your wrestling career too, I think about all the highlights. But I also liked the being doubted. I liked the miles on the car that now everybody's praised for. I wish that social media had started the generation before me, because God, you would have seen a grind. Ask anybody. Oh my goodness, I put myself into so much debt to be a pro wrestler, and then when I started making money, I paid off all that debt, and I was so proud, because that was my college. That was my degree. I was a certified pro wrestler because I gave everything to that. Vehicles, time. I would Sin Kazarni, shout out. Hey, Elgin, leaving Friday, 4 a.m. my house, right? Nick, I got school tomorrow. Will they let you take their homework? I don't know. You think they will? Because, well, you don't know until you ask. I go, I'll see about it. So I went to school and I talked to them, and I told them what I was doing, and I said it was an experience, to go to the United States and learn about stuff in the United States, because we were going to go to Michigan and Ohio that weekend, and I get my homework done, but I'm also learning geography. Like, I put every emphasis into why the positives of that experience would actually benefit me. And the teachers agreed to give me my homework on any Friday that I needed off once a month. So I could only do it once a month. But I thought it was pretty cool in my school to do that. And then I think back of, like, grade 8, we used to get, it's just everything's coming back to me. It's like boom, 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 boom. That love of pro wrestling is just in the air. And it's, in grade 8, we used to get suspended all the time for play wrestling at recess and at lunch. So our principal said that after school for an hour and a half every Wednesday, we could pull down the gym mats and we could have wrestling matches with each other, as long as we didn't fight at recess. Like, that's how deep it was, guys. That really happened. I wonder who's out there. Amanda Stinson and Cody Boudreaux? Yeah, Cody Boudreaux. If you guys ever come across this, I hope you can verify that this is a real thing. Scott Dudman. Yeah, that's another one. Scott, if you guys can verify that this happened so that people don't think it's BS, because I'm going to post it on my Facebook. And it's just, Amanda, your mom making those foam belts for us. Man, wrestling was everything. Everything. It consumed my entire life. I'm going to watch NXT tonight for the first time. I haven't watched wrestling since Mania because it's been hurting. And I'm excited to watch NXT tonight. Seeing the clips, Myron main eventing last night. If you don't know, I helped train Myron, and when I started Glory Pro, he was my guy. And I am so proud of him and so honored and privileged that I was part of his journey, which goes back to teaching, which goes back to me and my son. See, it's all, wrestling is life to me. And shout out to anybody who has ever called me Yoda, because that, and see, it's so hard to wrap everything together, because here's where we go. When stuff hit and people tried to say that I did something to a student, I treated every student like they were my child. And I mean, like, I remember Jody Threat being down here, and one of my students, Rain, had hit her head doing a run off the second rope. And she was really, really upset and crying. And I talked her to calm down. I talked with her, not talked to her, talked with her. And I remember Jody going, wow, I never seen anybody do that. I go, what? He goes, talk to their students like that. I said, these are my kids. These are my legacy in pro wrestling, because Jax might not want to be a pro wrestler. That's my legacy in wrestling, is giving back. It's emotional. It's really emotional, but in a good way. That's the difference, right? You can be emotional and want to harm yourself, or you can be emotional in, like, this is what free feels like. This is what enlightenment is, you know? I've never stopped to smell the roses. And in this conversation with you, it's like I'm getting big whiffs of it. Tanahashi's retiring. Like, it's missing a lot. It's hard being on the outside. So I gotta let go. But how do you let go of something that meant so much to you? How do you leave it all behind, every aspect of it? Like, not only am I not able to run a school because I can't afford it, because I can't get students because people have tarnished my name unjustly, Can't run a show because I can't afford it. Because people won't want to be on the shows. Because talent told me, the TNA told them in 2024 that they couldn't be on shows with me. So it's like, not only did TNA not investigate, but now they're preventing guys from doing shows for me. So how can I run shows? Nobody's going to want to see the shows. I can locally promote, but who's going to help me locally promote? Because if they help me, then they're the bad guy. For what? I didn't do anything. And that's tough. But then when I look what I have, it's my son and my daughter and my wife. And it's like, no, that was the price I was willing to pay to find them and do good by them. And I am. So it's almost like a goodbye to pro wrestling in a sense. And it is, because if this doesn't work, then I don't think I want to give any more back. I think I gave enough. And I think you got to learn when you give and you give and you give and you get nothing back. You got to walk away. And just a little appreciation, you know. I helped a lot of people. A lot more than anybody knows. Because I critiqued Jeff Cobb's wrestling, everybody started making it out that I was bad talking everybody. I remember Matt Sydal asking me, hey man, did you tell the border that I had weed on me? Because that's what's going around. Like, why would I know you had weed on you? 2, why would I fuck with you? I like you, Matt. You're a junior heavyweight. Like, that's the shit that started. And I was like, why would I do that? And then Juice told me, yeah, that's what I heard. It's like, what? Why would I do that? And how would I know to say, hey, this guy? And like, who thinks of that? That's ridiculous. So then all of a sudden, nobody wants to associate because they're afraid that I'm going to do something bad. I never undermined a motherfucker in my life, especially in wrestling, even when I didn't like them. Me and ACH did not get along personally, but as a wrestler, he was fantastic. And there was people when he was starting at Ring of Honor that told Delirious to get rid of him. I said, no, you sign him. They go, oh, he's this, he's that, he's that. I go, I don't care, he's talented. He's talented and he's great. You just got to learn that he's going to talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and just go along with it, because it's not going to harm you, but it's going to help the show. That was my feeling about it. Because if I ran a show, ACH would be the top guy for me for sure. ACH was a hell of a wrestler. God, he was one of the best. And like, everything wraps around because it's just wrestling. Some of the best people I ever met are wrestlers. Some of the shittiest people I ever met are wrestlers. There's some damn good wrestlers I saw that never made it and should have. There's some damn good wrestlers out there right now that the world should see, but if I say something, they act like, no. Iron Reed, KJ Reynolds, and Ryan Matthews. Everybody starts hearing about these guys after I've already told everybody about these guys. Like, I can't even get a mention then, because then they think it's bad for their career to say, yeah, man, you know what? Thankful to Pro Wrestling Revolver or this or that. But we wouldn't have been here unless Elgin helped us out a bit and did this for us and did that for us. Like, that would be nice. That would be some gratitude, but they fear what reception they would get. And I understand it. And I don't ask for it because I know what's going to happen to them, but it still hurts. Because damn, you think I was that bad of a person that I can't even be mentioned? You're going to Chris Benoit me for stuff that I proved false? Like, think about it. People acting now that I was a bad wrestler. I don't care if you don't like me, but don't think I was a bad wrestler. Shut the fuck up. I changed the way power wrestlers wrestled because I took influences from everywhere. And don't act like I'm just being a smartass right now, because I'm not. Go back and watch the Fallaway Samoan, the delayed vertical suplex from the second rope. Shout out to Brian Cage, which I used items of his work from. But I did it out of the corner, which is easier than how he does it. And that's why I thought, how can I make it difficult? And that's why I did it into the stall. And then it was also different, but equally as impressive as Brian Cage's. And I asked him if that was okay, and he said yes. So shout out to Brian Cage, because he didn't have to say yes. Some of my favorite matches were with him in TNA, which brings it back to TNA. See how, like, because I just posted about the TNA relationship, and I would love to talk wrestling. I would love to make money talking about wrestling. I think it'd be a very good... I would love to be able to make a career of just talking about wrestling. Like, give me a podcast. Pay me to watch everything. Let's break it down. Let's have a real analysis. Like, if you wanted WWE on ESPN, like, I could do that for real, but in a wrestling sense. You know what I mean? I could break everything down and do it. I could break down the science of pro wrestling, or I could run a school and produce the guys that I have produced and influence the people I've influenced. Ask anybody who did a seminar with me. I promise you, I'm probably the best seminar they ever had. Or at least the seminar they learned the most from. I'm a hell of a wrestling teacher. So there's so many opportunities that I could have to live my life, but you've taken all of them, because I went to the school of wrestling. That was my life. I started when I was 14. 2002, after watching Hogan and The Rock, I got a flyer from EWF saying 2-week summer camp, ages 14 and up, and I joined it. I never looked back. I never watched anything but wrestling. I never thought about anything but wrestling. I was 13 and I was 300 pounds of fat, and I started getting in shape. And I had wrestling posters up and bodybuilding posters up, and all I did was watch wrestling, and I didn't really go out too much, and I left early to go to the gym, and I would go to wrestling training, and then on weekends I would go to wrestling training. So I was like training Tuesdays and Thursdays after school, but also Saturdays and Sundays. So I didn't go out all these Friday nights. A couple, you go in between. But I started really young with pro wrestling. And I went, yeah, let's do that. And you just think like everything has revolved around this. And we're getting way off track, I know. But I want to be honest with you. This is how I express myself, because I got to give it up. If you love it, let it go. And if it loves you, it will come back to you. So if it ever comes back to me, I'd be very happy. But if it doesn't, I'm okay. Because, man, I had a hell of a ride. And I went into detail of everything. So let's go back to Ring of Honor. Let's just knock this out now. The first controversy I ever had in my career. I had started in 2002. I'm used to going on the road all the time, every weekend, leaving high school early, wrestling Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and you can say, no, that wasn't happening, and I'll tell you, yes, it was, because PWA ran every Thursday and every Sunday. Guelph and Cambridge, Ontario, and then we would get bookings in between on the Friday and Saturday, so we would head up onto the States on Thursday, wrestle, go into the States Friday, Saturday, wrestle, come back, hit them Sunday, go home. We were working 4 times a week when I was 18 years old. And that was just the life we lived. And I signed my first exclusive contract, and I was only going to wrestle for Ring of Honor. I don't know what free time was like. And I felt like I needed to fill that time. I had a son at this time where my son was coming. The title was the year before, but we were trying to have Jax. Sorry, I'm just saying. I shouldn't. I'm not going to get too personal. I just trying to timeline it all up so you understand what this message is about. And it's emotional. As I said, this all ties in together. Wrestling school, talking about wrestling, teaching, learning, all these things with my children, and then what I want to give back to wrestling, but even unable to give it back because I can't support myself by giving. Like, you really took everything in a working sense from me over stuff I've proved to be false. But anyway, so I started to look into other things to do to keep myself active, to also be able to have fun with my spouse and, hopefully the family. So like if I get into going to the batting cages or doing all this, and I had free time now, so I wasn't as busy, so I joined softball teams just to play around because I used to love baseball too. But because wrestling took a precedent, I never followed up anything. And I played it in high school and college. But anyway, I wanted to just mess around with baseball that way. But then when I started looking into leagues and camps and all this stuff, I saw the promotion for this free tryout. And all my life I've worked towards something. As I said, when I was young, I was really fat. So I always set a goal. And in my wrestling career, I always set a goal, and I wanted to obtain that. And that helped me stay focused, stay concentrated, stay motivated. And that was always having a goal in mind. That's what really helped me throughout life. And I know my wife would be like, hold it up here, but I don't hold it there. And as I said, this is just a real video, guys, because everybody acts as if they know everything and everybody because they heard something and then they never followed it up. And what type of person somebody is. But you've made it so that if anybody talks positive about me, you think negative about them. And I don't want anybody to fear that because I know the grind. I know going into debt. I know blowing up the cars, relationships, missing family events, being broke, struggling. I was a struggling artist because I gave it everything I had. No drive was too far. Gabe said, I used to email Ring of Honor a lot. And Gabe, I know we'll get back on track, but I just want high moments for me that made me comfortable with this decision. There's so much. This could be a audio book by the time we're done with it. Who knows? But told Jimmy Jacobs that I emailed him too much. I got to piss off or something like that. And I was like, okay, sorry, because I did. I was like, hey, I'm not taking it. I would try to get booked near Ring of Honor one of the nights, so I could try to get on the pre-show of Ring of Honor. That was my goal. I'd watched Ring of Honor since its inception. Bryan Danielson versus Loki versus Christopher Daniels was like one of my favorite matches of all time. And that really made me want to be a part of Ring of Honor, that match on that first show, the first main event. And I was like, that's where my first goal is. That's where I'm going first. I know I'm not going straight to WWE because I'm not very tall. I know I'm not going straight to WWE because I'm not in circumstances to build my talking yet. But I know I'm a hell of a wrestler. I know I can learn really fast. And I can adapt. And when I found myself and went to Impact, TNA, which was not the smart decision at the time, left my dream job at New Japan. Said I was going to sink that in a lot. And I had such a good career and fun career, and I feel like it would be nice if somebody was able to talk about me the way I talk about the people that I loved. Talk about the people that helped me. Like, man, seeing Josh Alexander where he is, when it was not cool to back him when I was backing him. Not because he did anything wrong, just because of the school he came from. Same with Ethan Page. So proud of them guys, man. Fuck. Seeing their success, I feel emotional. It's like they're brothers. But it's not cool to be cool with me, so we're not brothers no more. I guess I was a stepbrother. Like, I did a lot of good for a lot of people that can't speak on my name positively out of fear for social media, which is why I'm here, because Scott D'Amore told me that they didn't want to risk clearing my name because of the blowback while they're trying to rebuild the company. Remember, I went when I went, and I wanted to rebuild the company. That's why they brought me in. That was my entire goal. Eddie Edwards was the Noah GAC heavyweight champion, and they negotiated more money for me than him because of my name value in Japan. And that's not disrespect to Eddie. Eddie, you are one of the best wrestlers I ever wrestled. And I know that you must be happy because you are one of the absolute best. And I know you were a warrior like I was coming up, going to the dojos in Japan, nobody knowing you. I remember watching you in Boston versus Jack Evans when I was trying to be on the pre-show. And Ash, I love you, man. I looked at Ash because, no, maybe I told Ash. I don't remember if he was on that trip with me. But I remember telling him, like, yeah, Eddie's the guy live, too. Like, because we liked him watching Noah. Me and Ash would watch Noah all the time. And even that, like, I feel like, I don't know why we lost contact. It was my fault, my bad, man, because you were my first brother. You're the man, dude. I love you. I hope you're doing well. No, guys, this is not a goodbye to life. This is a goodbye to pro wrestling. I'm so happy I am where I am right now. And maybe I don't need to go into any more detail. If you know, you know. If you don't know, you don't know. But I'm thankful to everybody who ever gave me an opportunity anybody who ever worked with me, thank you for allowing me the opportunity to learn from you, to teach you, and the trust to make sure that you are not going to get hurt, and the respect not to hurt me. Thank you. Every promoter that believed in me, even when we had our differences, I really appreciate everybody that I ever met in my career, for the negatives and the positives. But I'm going to watch some NXT tonight. And my biggest goal that I never achieved, that I thought was still attainable, and somehow somebody said I stole some protein in Japan. Breaks my heart. I love Japan so much. I respect Japan so much. That hurt. That hurt too. Like a lot. Not banned from the country. Which brings me to this. If there is anybody out there, I have a computer, I have headphones, wants to start a podcast, I would like to do an English Pro Wrestling Noah podcast. But I want to go back. So maybe like open up with how to watch them currently. But say we're not watching that right now. We're going to go back. In the first episode, I want to talk about how Noah came to be. Which is a big shout out to Colin Wrestle on YouTube, because his documentary, the Kenta Kobashi one, that is pro wrestling to me. But that's my love of pro wrestling. But I also love the entertainment value of pro wrestling, which is why I love AEW, because they satisfy my love for wrestling as a sport. And WWE gives me that entertainment value that I love from a big aspect of my life, from 86 on, because I didn't get into wrestling outside of there until WCW, Great American Bash 1992, Terry Gordy and Steve Williams, who are two of my favorites. Watching them, Shinya Hashimoto and Hiroshi Ace, like I watched that show, the tag team title tournament, and that made me tape trade in 1992, and I was born in 86. Think about when I started this journey. And we started watching All Japan and their separation into Noah. And then Noah was where I wanted to be. So my goal was Ring of Honor and then Noah. And then I wanted to follow in the footsteps of guys like Jericho and Eddie Guerrero, and then go to WWE. But I always wanted to finish my career in Japan. That was the dream. Every once in a while, I'll go to Japan for a big match, get the matches I always wanted. I got the Sekimoto match. I almost had the Miyahara match. Yeah, so when almost had the GHC Heavyweight Championship, I almost had Dragon Gate. That was one I wanted to wrestle for too. I wanted to hit them all, because I love Japanese wrestling and all kinds. I remember watching Michinoku Pro. And of course, we got into that due to ECW. but we were big fans. I think I have like an 8-hour compilation of Michinoku Pro still on VHS tape. And just when Dragon Gate started, I also have like a bunch of compilations of Toryumon Project before it became Dragon Gate. So it's like, this was my life. And I feel good saying goodbye because I have my children and my wife, and I have a wonderful life. But I'd like to do an English Noah podcast and talk about all that. And maybe open up to casual wrestling fans. And maybe during this time, Impact makes a statement, TNA. Or maybe somebody out there does actually some research, and the Dave Meltzers and the Sean Ross Sapps and the Mike Johnsons who ignored my pleas of please look into this. Because not only are you not allowing me to wrestle, you are not allowing me to make any money in the business that I have spent my entire life learning. All I wanted was a fair shake, because if you know anything, you know that I didn't do what I was accused of. You took an entire, I can't do a podcast, I can't do seminars, I can't do a school, I can't be a trainer, I can't be a writer, I can't be an agent. You took everything away from me. So I had to restart my entire life. That's what you're not understanding. And why I've fought so hard to clear my name. But how much longer can one man fight for everything in his life? Can't. It's a struggle. Look, I'm about to, what time is it? I'm not even going to be able to watch NXT tonight. I'm going to pass out. I've been up since Monday in the hospital getting my 5th surgery on my leg. I'm so tired. I'm almost delirious. I'm not taking my pain medication because I don't want to give any reason for me to not see my son. So it's time to just take a nap and wait for my beautiful wife and my wonderful daughter to come home. And probably sleep through that. But then we have my daughter's first birthday tomorrow. So even though I know what's going to be made out of this video, I shouldn't say that. What's going to be attempted to be made out of this video is inaccurate. And if I ever felt that I was incapable of doing something when it involves my son, I would never risk him. And my wife would drop everything to pick him up for my daughter's birthday, his sister's birthday. But anyway, I would love to do an English Noah podcast and maybe influence people, the history of Noah, and also while doing that, the importance of it. And I have, real background there, and not only there, but in Japan and in wrestling in America and Canada and England and Germany. I have Mexico. Saw people like shitting on me for winning the World Cup. Screw you. I worked hard for that. I trained in lucha because after that first school when I joined when I was 14, I went to Squared Circle. And it's like, man, I can't even be appreciated in Mexico either. That sucks. I worked really hard in my career. And now I can't even give back with all this knowledge. Shout out to the young man who's going to make something of himself that trusted in me to guide him when he began wrestling. So goodbye to pro wrestling. Unless somebody wants to hit me up about doing a Pro Wrestling Noah podcast, I'd be very interested. but I can't offer much other than my expertise. Take care.